All right. As far as the injuries go, McKinnon won't practice today. Everybody else will go. Nick Bolton will get some work today, and we'll just bring him along slowly, see how he does. Look for the challenge of playing the Packers. Good football team, great environment for a football game. Matt does a nice job with, with the responsibilities of being a head coach and also working heavily with the offense. Joe Barry, their defense coordinator, does a great job there, scheme-wise, and the personnel they have is very good. And then Adam, works with the offense. Likewise, he's the offensive coordinator. Works with Matt, and they've put together, obviously, over the years, a good offense. They brought their quarterback along, done a real nice job with that, and he's playing at a high level. So, along with the receivers and the rest of the bunch, obviously, the offensive line. Defensively, that it starts with that defensive front that they have there. They've got more than the four that start that can come in there and play, and then their linebackers they're getting healthy there, so they're playing well too. And then secondary wise, they're getting healthy there too, and so I'm sure the experience that the young guys had will benefit them down the road, but also give them quality depth there. So, and then special teams is also doing well. So with that, time's yours.
Andy, what do you remember about Mike Holmgren calling you to go to Green Bay? At that time, I think you knew the call was coming eventually, but.
I remember you and me, Vahe, had no gray hair, man. Yeah, so, this is corny, but he said, I'm gonna promise you I'm gonna hire you someday. And so he did. He was good on his promise. Yeah.
And at that point, I mean, your whole career had been collegiate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What sort of thought did it really require to say, yeah, I'll do this?
Well, it was a good opportunity. I mean, I've worked for Mike Holmgren for the 7 years, and I had a hard time believing anybody did it better, and I still feel that way. So he was a great head football coach, great offensive mind. So I was very fortunate to get into that situation. I knew him from BYU, and where he was coaching the quarterback. So that was an easy professionally it was easy. Personally, it was tough because of the relationships I had with the Missouri staff.
You have a reputation of being a player's coach. Is that something you learned during those early days with Holmgren, or where did that kind of set in for you?
Yeah, I thought he managed the players well, and he had a good feel for. He was a good people guy. Good feel for that. I also had a chance to play for Lavelle Edwards, and he was a phenomenal guy with the players. So I mean that was one of his great strengths. So I had those a couple examples there, and I mentioned I wasn't sure it was you guys, but I mentioned to somebody here that I was lucky to have good high school coaches, junior college, and all the way up through. Very fortunate that way. They're good people. Yeah.
What do you remember about being in Lambeau for those game days, and do you cherish going back when you get the chance?
Yeah, I mean, the only time I go back is when we play there. But listen, it's a lot like Kansas City that way. They're passionate about football, and it is a neat environment. I mean, we look forward to that challenge of going up there and playing. I know our guys do. So, but I had a great time there. We won a world championship, and so my experience there was top notch.
You guys got to face Love a couple of years ago on his first start, right? You hadn't seen much of him. From what you guys had a little bit of time to get ready for that, and what you see of him now, what sort of things is he kind of really grasping?
Yeah, I mean, a world of difference. He's playing really good football right now. You start looking at his numbers, and they're up there the last few games here. So he's done a nice job.
Andy, he didn't play much the other day, but I wanted to get your thoughts on Wanya Morris, how he did when he was in the lineup there.
Hey, you know what, Adam? He did a nice job. He played well for a couple plays that he was in there. Physical. Could have given him a couple reps in there, you know.
Coach, you used the term, when talking about Rashee Rice, Patrick friendly. Can you maybe expand upon what Patrick friendly is for a
Yeah,
receiver?
so getting better at understanding how to play against these zones, these crazy zones that these defenses throw at you, and getting into space where you're available. So it's not always the way it's drawn up on a piece of paper. You know, so you've got to have a feel. And so when I say that, I'm saying he's got a feel, and now he's building in all those different defenses and kind of seeing that and putting that together, which is good. He'll keep being challenged this year. This will be a big challenge for him, this team here. So, but he's getting better every week at that.
I know every player's different, but is there kind of is it a straight line as receivers get better? Is it a bumpy stock market looking a couple steps back, 3 steps forward?
It kind of depends on, I mean, if you look at Kels, there are certain times when Kels doesn't catch a lot of balls, but they're doing something there that allows somebody else to catch it. So it's hard to just go off of numbers alone. So, but and then there's the part of the youth part where they might throw something at him. He goes, just don't repeat that. Right? Learn from it, and then get yourself in a position where you're available. So you have that part, but you also have the part that if teams are putting a lot of emphasis on them, then somebody else has got to step up.
Coach, what made you happiest, or the staff happiest, as they looked at the tape? What were they most impressed about with you guys' performance?
And probably what I said after the game, just the fact that we were able to come back. We were down by 14, and the guys, they didn't flinch. They actually picked it up, and coaches likewise. And that's a tough thing to do in this league, especially after the week before that, and Thanksgiving, all those things. It can be used as excuses. Yeah, but they didn't do that. They picked everything up and said, we got to play better. And I hear things on the sideline, so I have a good feel that most people don't hear. So, and the guys, the leaders were really encouraging guys, and so that I thought all that was positive.
Coach, I know I asked you before about, how difficult it is for these rookies to come into your system as receivers and pick everything up. Was Rashee, the way he's pacing, he's going to end up in that category with Deshaun and Jeremy. I know they're all different players and speed, sizes, those things, but are there characteristics that you saw in Rashee that carry on, that you think that you saw in Jeremy and Deshaun too?
Yeah, all three are a little bit different. Deshaun is, fast. He's normally the fastest guy in the field, and Jeremy's but he's very fast, but he's also strong, big and strong. And then Rashee has got good speed and even stronger than what Jeremy was. So they're all different. All three are different. Probably they're smart, and they have that feel for the game. That would be the things that are common.
Coach, so much is made about your opening script. We have the 2 drives that go 3 and out, and I think it was 4 plays a second. How does that maybe alter your game plan at that point? Do you stick with it, or do you kind of? That
wasn't a very good opening script right there. Yeah, they did a good job on us with that. And you can move things around. What they were showing us was similar to what would work on the script. We just had to kind of go back and retool a couple things there.
We'll go right across the room, Todd, Blair, Bahades, or
Andy, I wanted to, on the touchdown Justin scored right before halftime, what was the route he was supposed to run there? I mean, it looked like he came off on the stack and kind of went.
He got
inside.
drilled. Yeah, he got drilled.
Yeah.
So knocked down and then bounced up. He was supposed to continue going, but he got knocked down, jumped up, and there was a hole there. Pat was moving, and he just stayed there, and was able to catch it. But that was a heck of a hit. Not a lot of guys bounce up from that the way he bounced up. I mean, that was something.
So he was supposed to keep going to the
Yeah,
back of the
just,
end zone?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, right in the back.
And I guess this falls under the category, you can only control what you can control, but you're in a stretch of games where your opponent has more rest advantage than you do. 6 straight games, I think of that. How big an advantage is rest?
Yeah, I mean, Dr. T harps on the guys about sleep patterns and all this stuff. I mean, we just talked about it yesterday. He presented to the guys yesterday about sleep patterns, and so he's always keeping that information available for the guys in case those kind of things happen. And when you've been a good football team, you're going to have those kind of schedules. You're just going to. It's like this game here is a Thursday night game. You're going to have, a Sunday night game. So all of a sudden, by the time you get back, that week is a little bit shorter than what possibly would have been. So, but it starts in training camp, preparing yourself, make sure you take care of your body, make sure you get your sleep, all those things. And then it should work out okay for you.
Bye.
Andy, I don't think you ever met Hank Stram, but I wonder what you think about his legacy and whether that was even part of what made this job appealing to you with the history of the Chiefs.
Yeah, I was a big Hank Stram fan because of Mike Garrett. Mike Garrett grew up in that same area I grew up in, followed him, his career at SC, and then when he came to the Chiefs, I became a Chiefs fan. And so I had watched Hank Stram. He was somebody I was familiar with and had a lot of respect for. I mentioned after the game, I mean, even to be listed with his name there, I just, it's crazy. But then when I coached at Missouri, I would come up here and visit with Howard Mudd, and who was the line coach here at the time, so I was familiar with the organization, and it's always been a class organization. So that, I guess, all of that together. I'm not giving you a clean-cut answer here, but
Yeah, but all that, and I assume you thought of Hank as an innovator too. I mean,
yeah, great personality, and he obviously had worked close with Lynn Dawson, and they were good.
Last one, sir.
Coach, I know you try to fix everything, right? You try to get better everywhere, but on the defense, and it's somewhat picking nits here because the defense has been so good, but the run defense is the part statistically that lags back. But is that not the concern that maybe it would have been? I know the league's kind of, you're going to throw it, right? The whole league kind of imitates doing that now. They're going to throw it. Is that by design almost to focus to take the pass away first, and if we get a few on the ground, we'll live with it?
Spags, they spent a lot of time with that. Joe Collins, Spags, all the coaches, Brendan, to make sure that's it's sound. So we're doing better than we had there. So we made some improvement, and but you better be able to handle the pass in this league too. And our guys are doing great at that.
I guess, is it a conscious, like, it's okay if we,
No, because you're striving to do better, right? You're striving to do better. So when I stand up and I go, hey, we can get better in a lot of spots. Well, we can get better there. So don't just rest on that. Keep pushing yourself. I mean, one of the tricks of being an NFL player is we're going to exploit what you're great at, and then we're going to help teach you the things you're not quite great at to get better. So now you have a complete game. So that's, in general, what you're asking the question on. I mean, we're working on that to get better at that.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
Congratulations on being the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Do those accolades mean a lot to you?
Yeah, they still mean a ton. I mean, obviously, it's an award of playing great football, which is hard to do in this league, and so I think it still means a ton, and it speaks to the team mostly. I mean, most times you win the game, and guys around you make plays to get those awards, and so it was a good week for us offensively, and we're gonna try to keep it rolling.
Patrick, could you talk about that Watson touchdown right before halftime? He gets knocked down, and Andy said he was supposed to drag across the back of the end zone. Like, what's your progression there? What did you see, and when did you realize that Watson was kind of, hey, he's right there, he's wide open?
Yeah, no, it was he was. I mean, Coach Reid said it right. He's supposed to go across the end zone, and then Travis is supposed to be behind him. And I went back to find kind of him in that spot, and obviously didn't see him and saw Travis. And so my next read is to the running back for the check down. And as I was kind of scanning back to the left, I saw him getting back up, and I was like, hey, if you get back up, you're gonna be wide open for a touchdown. And so it speaks to him, though. I mean, getting hit like that and being able to bounce back up and get the touchdown, you just got to keep fighting to the end.
Coach Reid dropped us the Patrick friendly line this week, talking about Rasheed, and probably applies to other receivers too. But when he says that, what does becoming Patrick friendly mean to you?
I think it's just how you work. I think that's the biggest thing. Is if guys continue to work and continue to practice, and I get a feel for how they run routes and a feel for how they're seeing stuff on the football field, it just makes it easier. It makes my job easier, and so guys have done that throughout my career, and he's done a great job of that in year one, which doesn't happen a lot of times with the receivers. And so the goal for him now is to keep working, keep getting better. Don't be satisfied with where he's at, and hopefully get him more bigger games as his career goes on.
How's he doing adjusting the zone? It looked like there were a couple times you would try to throw him open when he had a defender on him, and you guys weren't quite on the same page. Is he getting better at finding that soft spot?
He is. He's getting a lot better. He doesn't make the same mistakes. I think that's the biggest thing. And there's little things here and there where we might not be on the same page, but once we talk about it on the sideline, he doesn't make that mistake again, and that's why you see he's gotten better and better throughout the season. And so it's one thing to be able to beat man coverage when you come into the NFL, because that's played everywhere, but the zones are so much more complex than college. Sometimes they have to recognize it on the fly, and so it's just about getting better and better throughout the season.
Patrick, what do you think it says about Andy to have surpassed Hank Stram as the Chiefs' winningest coach, and what's that mean to you, if anything?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me when he talks about Coach Reid is that he knows how to win with a lot of different players, and that speaks to the person that he is. You always have to build a different culture. You always have to adapt your team to the players that you have on your team, and he's done a great job of that, not only here but in Philly and when he was assistant coaches and all around the league and in college. And so it speaks to the person that he is, because he can relate to everybody and he can go out and get the best out of every single person.
And sort of related to that, to the point that you're making, I think, too, to do it with two different complete environment, cultural differences. Is that sort of the point you're making?
Yeah, exactly. And in the NFL, you're getting people from every culture and every environment. And I think he does a great job of being able to be that father-like figure or uncle or whatever you want to call it. And he can get the best out of you no matter where if you grew up with a lot of money, grew up with no money, no matter where you grew up. I mean, he knows how to relate to you and get the best out of you.
With Andy and the RPOs that he builds, you said earlier in your career you were always pulling it to throw. How far along do you think you've come in choosing when to pull, when to hand it off?
Yeah, no, I mean there's every game there's one or two that you wish you'd have thrown or wish you'd have handed off, it seems like, but I've gotten a lot better at it. Teams have really tried to focus on not giving away those throws, but I think you see that's why Pop can really run the football and get those extra yards, is because instead of if him breaking one tackle and the guy being right there, the guy has to hesitate his feet, and that's why he can break that tackle and keep getting those extra 2 or 3 yards. And so he does a great job of that, and I know with our offensive line and our running backs that we can get those yards. So even sometimes if I might need to throw it, I'll just hand it off and let Pop run, because I wouldn't be the one tackling him.
Patrick, when as we get into the last full month of the season, we know that y'all always think about playoffs, looking for that Super Bowl run. When does it actually start clicking in the season that, like, hey, let's actually start getting going?
For me, it's all the time, off season, in season, whatever it is. I'm always knowing that you take the day, you want to maximize the day and get better and better. But at the end of the day, you're working for that ultimate goal, which is the Super Bowl. And so you have to take a week in and week out. But your mentality should be, I'm going to do this today to be better for the next day and for the next day until the Super Bowl comes. And so we have a great game this week, a great challenge, and a great environment against a great football team. And so for us, how can we get better today that we play that football game and we can find a way to win it that will be towards our ultimate goal, which is the Super Bowl.
Talking about environment, What's it like playing at Lambeau Field? Is it a lot like the opponent's experience here at Arrowhead?
I haven't got to play like an actual game. I've actually never got to play a game in general because the games that I've been there were the fourth preseason games. So I wasn't playing in the games, and so I'm extremely excited for it. I mean, I've watched it my whole entire life, and I know it's going to be a hostile environment, and the fans are going to be loud. It's going to be a lot like Arrowhead is to other teams, like you're saying. But I'm excited. If you love football, you love Lambeau Field, and I'm excited to get the opportunity to play there.
Patrick, the throw you made to Travis, I'm sure you've seen it online, of the over the shoulder, the defender's right on him. Like, it's pretty obvious that's a hell of a throw. Like, what do you see there? Like, it looks, my guess is you can see nothing.
I honestly think I pulled the string a little too much. I think if I'd have thrown it the way I wanted to, it wouldn't have been that close to his helmet. I would have thrown it over his shoulder a little bit more and let him. But great tight end Travis did the late hands, and it made it look even better for me. He did the late hands, caught it, and got upfield, and kind of got those yards anyways. But when I threw it, I thought I hit the dude in the helmet for sure. Like I thought I pulled it back just a little bit too much, and so. Sometimes you gotta give your great players chances to make great plays, and that's what he did.
That was one that was as much about having the confidence that if I put it out there, he'll go get it, right?
Yeah, 100%. Coach Reid challenged me over the bye really, and through these next weeks of just trusting your guys to go out there and make plays, and I've tried to do that these last few weeks, and it's paid off because the guys have been making some plays for me.
With Kelsey, we're halfway through the year. I mean, retirement thing has come up. Have you noticed any slowing down when it comes to him or change in his game just because he's a little bit older?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think if anything, it's the amount of coverage that he's getting has kind of maybe put his numbers down just a little bit. But I think as you see some other guys starting to make plays happen, he's gonna go back to where he's been at. I mean, you see him at practice, you see him. And some of the plays he makes during the game, you don't think there'd be any chance of retirement coming anywhere soon, and he hasn't said anything to me about it. So I think I'd be the first one to know if that's in his mind.
You mentioned that you're always kind of in the playoffs. It's always a push. It's always a focus for you. But do you follow where you are? Are you aware where you guys are in the playoff seedings? There's plenty of websites you can click and see whether you're the 1 seed, the 2 seed, the 3 seed. Do you track that?
Yeah, I mean, I know if we win all our games the rest of the year, we'll be playing at Arrowhead. So, it's an advantage playing at Arrowhead. So we're going to try to do whatever we can to win those football games. But we got a lot of great challenges ahead.
Patrick, one of the things that Andy talked about was these other teams have more rest than you guys have coming up, and you guys, I guess, had a doc talking about sleep management and all that stuff. Is that new stuff for you in the last couple of years? And how is having a couple of kids at home getting more important to find a way to manage that sleep and get your rest before these games?
Well, first, Brittany crushes the sleep. The kids have been sleeping for like 12 hours since they were like 3 months old. So that I've been lucky. I know other parents that hasn't been that fortunate. So that doesn't bother me at all. But I think it's cool to hear Dr. T talking about the sleep and how much benefit you can get from sleep. I've been a big on sleep for a while. I'm kind of one of those night owls. I like to stay up late, and so I've tried to really force myself to go to sleep, and I track it with the Whoop and everything like that, so you can see the recovery scores, and rest is rest. I mean, we're playing football. Let's just go out there and play football and see what happens.
I just want to know if you spent any Thanksgiving Day time watching Packers-Lions and what your impressions of Green Bay are.
Yeah, no, I got to catch about from the end of the second quarter, kind of through the second half, just with our practice schedule, and they've been playing great football all year. I've watched a lot of their games just because we've played some similar opponents, obviously. And so Jordan's gotten better and better at every single game. He's always had the talent, but when you get more and more reps, I mean, he didn't play for 3 years basically, so he's gotten more and more reps. You can see how much more comfortable he's getting. They got playmakers everywhere, and their defense can play. They got a lot of guys that can play football, and so it'll be a great challenge for us. And they're a hot football team that just beat another great football team, so they have confidence coming in. So we have to try to match that confidence and find a way to win a football game.
Appreciate you, Patrick.
Chris, you looking forward to Lambeau Field?
Absolutely. Such a historic field. For all the Super Bowls and the Lombardi, just the history of the field is it's amazing. So I'm always looking forward to playing in such an environment, similar to KC's, right?
Have you noticed like the evolution of Jordan Love, how he's progressed in that role?
Yeah, he's been progressing ever since they gave him the opportunity to get their starting job, and he learned a lot on the air and kind of have some of his mechanics. So. Then their team is on the roll. I think a 3-4 game winning streak. Matt LaFleur is a heck of a coach, and that offense is rolling.
Chris, did it mean anything in particular to you to see Andy become the Chiefs' winningest coach and get that distinction after you guys won the other day?
That's always remarkable to be able to play under Andy Reid, man. Just his journey, what he's been able to do at multiple organizations. I think one of the only coaches to be the winningest coach at 2 organizations is just tell you his commitment to this game of football and how he's such a pioneer in this league.
What has Reid meant to your career personally, on a personal level?
He's been amazing. He's been like the don't kill me for this, like the white father in my life. He's been very inspirational. I look at his son, Brett Reed, he's like a brother to me. His wife, Sparkles, she's like a mother to me too. So, for me, he's been family.
Chris, can you elaborate on that a little too? I mean, how does somebody become a father figure when he's also your coach? I mean, that's
just through the journey of life, man. Through my adversity of life, whether it's me coming in late and we're having those talks, those mature talks, or just having little 5-minute conversations about life and getting a laugh out of it. I think those small things in life goes a long way.
Chris, going back to the last game, you guys had a nice game after those first 3 possessions. Anything that you could point to looking back that maybe changed for you guys mid-game?
I think defense kind of honed in. Most importantly, we played fundamental football. I think early on we kind of got out of our gaps, playing not like we usually been playing over the course of this year, but we was able to make a few adjustments, play fundamentally sound, and wrap them up when we had the opportunity.
Coach said that he heard, the stuff on the sidelines, the right things he wants to hear when things are not going well from leaders and stuff like that. Can you kind of take us through what it was like being down 14 and giving up those touchdowns and kind of the message you guys had as a defense on the sideline there during that game to turn it?
I think it's more so, especially when you're going down facing adversity. I think it's a stronger force when you guys are together, not pointing fingers, especially in the midst of adversity, and stand together. Once we stay together, we're kind of hard to beat. We're a hard team to beat when we're all on the same page. And I think that was mainly the focal point of helping us get back in the game.
Chris, I asked you about the 4th down play after the game. You said, hopefully Spags doesn't kill me for this. What was just the reaction when you rewatched that backward?
We haven't talked about it yet, man. We haven't. Listen, it was a good job, right? If I would have missed it, I would have got cussed out. So, that's all I can say about it.
Anybody else?
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.